Hello everyone, my name is James and welcome to HTCG, and today we're going to be talking about motivation to complete your TCG. Whether you're either struggling to get through it, struggling to start it, or struggling to pick up on an old project, I'm going to be sharing some important tips to help you get through that right now. Okay, so the first motivational tip that I'm sharing with you today is to diversify your main big project into lots of little projects. Because sometimes you're not in the mood to draw a picture. So let's put that into one category, drawing pictures. We're not going to do that today, we're tired. So there's one category. We may need to come up with names and stuff. So we'll have a naming category, lists. We like lists, we can create lists. That means we're always progressing. As well as that, we can go into backstory of your project. So maybe we can focus on that in different ways. And perhaps one of those days we're in more of a mathematical mood, so we're going to throw that into statistics, whether we're rebalancing all cards, coming up with new attacks or defense numbers, lots of things like that. We're going to go over the mathematical side. So now, say if you're not in the mood to create your game, or you're really not in the mood to either draw a picture, write lists, coming up with story or lore, or just doing the mathematics side of thing where we're rebalancing stats. There are many different segments that go into creating card games, so you can literally pick and choose one of these segments. Which one are you more motivated to do on that day? Just because you can't draw a picture every day doesn't mean that you are not cut out to create your own TCG. Because perhaps on one of those days you want to go through the cards and work on something else that uses a different part of your brain. So work smart and not hard, and choose the path of least resistance on that day. It will be a huge help and you will see a massive difference if you do this, trust me. Motivational tip number 2, do your research. Sometimes you just can't be bothered to do the art or the backstory or any of that stuff at all. So what do we do instead when we feel like we're still progressing? We just watch YouTube videos or we listen to podcasts, little things that we can absorb information, because the human mind is a big sponge. So sometimes you have to fill it up before you can rinse it out. Does that make sense? So sometimes when you're not motivated, do some research, and you never know, something might suddenly inspire you. Sometimes lightning just strikes that way. It's excellent. So what I recommend is just subscribing to as many YouTubers as. It doesn't have to be this video, though it would be nice if it was. But if you're looking at other TCG creators, they can inspire you. And also, it doesn't just have to be TCG creators. It can just be other creators or other people who just motivate you. It can be musicians. We can talk about listening to music. We all at least have that one song that gets us going, that gets us pumped up, that gets us off our asses and actually doing the work. Why don't we use that more often? I don't find myself listening to music as much as I could. And I know that sounds silly because I'm getting away from the research side of things, but music is another important part of things. It inspires emotion, just like the research can. Just as you're watching somebody who is actually doing it, it can inspire you. You can listen to music which portrays that inspiration as well. So this is a little bit of a two-parter. We're talking about motivation, but there's another one. We'll make this number 3. We're talking about music and using music to pump us up, inspire us, and get us motivated, get us going, and get us punching the camera. Okay, motivational tip number 4. We are going to reward ourselves for hitting targets, which is a bit of a two-parter. So I'm going to talk about motivational tip number 5, which is punish yourself for not hitting targets. Now, you can either do one or the other or a bit of both. It depends how you feel that you fit that system the best. Does that make sense? So some people are more motivated when they see that dangling carrot, that reward. They want to feel like they're progressing towards it. Some people feel like when there's a hungry wolf chasing behind them that they have to move a bit faster. It depends on you as a person. Use one or the other, or perhaps even both. It is completely up to you. You are your own person. That makes you special. You find out what fits you the best. Some of these tips might be terrible for you. Some of them might be perfect for somebody else. But we don't know till we try them, do we? And I would just like to stop for a minute to thank you for making it this far in this video, because it just shows the dedication that you are taking to your project, for trying to learn to improve yourself, to reprogram your brain to being a better person. So thank you very much, and I would love to reward you with the final tip, which is for me the most important one. Like I said before, we're all different, so some of us work in different ways, but for me personally, this is my number one tip. This is the best one, and it is simply don't break the chain. Now when I say don't break the chain, I mean that you have to commit your free time to the project. Now that sounds simple, I know, but let me dive more into it. Every day, if you just commit 5 minutes, just 5 minutes minimum to your project, then you are always progressing. That means you're less likely to put it away in a drawer somewhere. You're more likely to keep that notepad out. Keep it by your bedside. Maybe you'll wake up with a dream with an idea and write that down. You've already committed your time. You've already stopped breaking the chain. I'm just talking about doing a little something every day. You know, people don't feel like they make progress unless they take a huge step. But sometimes just those little steps will get you there anyway. So don't worry about it. Don't worry. You don't have to make those huge steps. Just don't break the chain. Just every day, just add a little chink to that chain and keep adding it up. And then when you look back in 1 or 2 months' time and you've got yourself 30 to 60 links there, you start to see the big picture. You've taken that big step and you didn't even know it. You're not even tired because you just committed a minimum of 5 minutes every day. Whether it was just writing down lists of names of places in your world that you've created, or just practicing drawing eyes, or just listen to 5 minutes worth of podcast or YouTube content, which has made you more educated and more well prepared, more research to then work on your project yourself. That is all not breaking the chain. As long as you're doing something small towards it all the time, then you are always progressing, and eventually it will be finished. But I find as soon as I break the chain, it becomes okay to miss the next day. And then it becomes okay to miss the day after that. And so I put it away for a week. That's okay. And it gets harder and harder to get back onto that project. If you tell yourself, if you are strict with yourself and you say it is not okay to skip a day, then you can start to do wonderful things. You can create things you never thought you could create, and you can build things you never thought you could build, and it'll just all come together. And that is why that is my most important tip, because I think it encompasses all of them together. Whether you're dangling a carrot to progress yourself, or having something behind you to scare yourself, or dividing things up into small categories to make the projects easier, as long as you're not breaking the chain, you're constantly working on these small things, listening to music to pump yourself up, or giving yourself those rewards, you won't break the chain. The chain is the important thing. So that is why this is the most important one. And I hope at least one of these tips have motivated you today. And I'm not planning on going anywhere, but I can't guarantee I'll be here forever. But maybe this video will. And this video might inspire the next generation of TCG makers. Or maybe it'll just inspire one. Maybe it'll inspire you. And if it does, thank you. It's nice to know somebody listened. Goodbye, everyone. I'll see you next time.